Let's start now. The secret of the system. Waking up from death is usually considered a miracle, but for Sung Jin-Woo, it felt like the beginning of a nightmare. When his eyes snapped open, he wasn't in the cold marble halls of the Kartnan temple, but in a sterile hospital bed. However, floating in the air before him was something no one else could see. A glowing, holographic interface calling him a player in a world where hunters are born with fixed power. Jin-Woo has just been handed a key to infinite growth. But the system doesn't give gifts for free. If he fails to follow its commands, the penalty is death. The world's weakest hunter is about to find out that leveling up is a path paved in blood. Scene 1. The ghost in the room. The rhythmic beeping of a heart monitor was the first thing that greeted Jin-Woo's consciousness. His body felt heavy, his muscles screaming with a phantom pain of being crushed under a gargantuan stone foot. He gasped, bolting upright, his hands instinctively reaching for his legs. They were there, whole, uncrushed, and devoid of the scars that should have been carved into his flesh by the statues. Mister! Sung! You're finally awake. A nurse rushed in, followed by two stern men in dark suits. Investigators from the Korean Hunters Association. How am I alive? Jin-Woo's voice was a dry rasp. The lead investigator, Woo Jin-Chul, adjusted his glasses, his expression unreadable. That is what we were hoping you could tell us, Myeoner Sung. When our White Tiger Guild rescue team arrived at the scene of the double dungeon, there was nothing there. No statues, no altar, no king. Just a hollow stone room and you lying unconscious on the floor. Every trace of the massacre has vanished. Jin-Woo's mind reeled. 11 hunters had been slaughtered like cattle. He had watched them turn to ash and red mist. How could it all be gone? Before he could respond, a soft, crystalline chime echoed in his mind.
Notification. You have unread messages.
A blue screen flickered into existence right in front of the investigator's face. Jin-Woo flinched, but Woo, Jin-Chul didn't even blink. Mirror? Sung? Is something wrong? No, nothing, Jin-Woo whispered, realizing the screen was invisible to everyone but him. The investigators left shortly after, dismissed by Jin-Woo's apparent confusion. Left alone in the silence of the hospital wing, he focused on the screen. It was a quest log. It looked like something out of a video game, but the stakes felt far too real. Scene 2, the penalty quest. The holographic screen displayed a list of tasks that seemed absurd for a hunter.
Daily quest. Preparations to become strong. Push-ups. 100. Sit-ups. 100. Squats. 100. Running. 10 kilometers. Warning. Failure to complete this daily quest will result in a penalty mission.
Jin-Woo scoffed, leaning back into his pillow. Push-ups? Squats? I'm an E-rank hunter, not a bodybuilder. This has to be a hallucination brought on by the trauma. He ignored the screen and fell into a deep, restless sleep, convinced that the system was just a trick of his fractured mind. But as the clock struck midnight, the hospital room didn't just go dark. It vanished, the temperature skyrocketed, and the smell of ozone was replaced by the suffocating heat of a desert.
You have failed to complete the daily quest. Penalty mission will now commence.
Jin-Woo hit the burning sand hard. He looked around in a panic. He was in a vast, endless wasteland under a blood-red sun. From beneath the dunes, a low, rumbling vibration shook the earth. Suddenly, a colossal desert centipede the size of a freight train erupted from the sand. Its mandibles snapped inches from Jin-Woo's face. This is no hallucination. He screamed, scrambling to his feet. For 4 agonizing hours, Jin-Woo ran. He ran until his lungs felt like they were filled with broken glass. He ran until his legs were numb. Every time he slowed down, the massive insects would lung out of the sand to drag him under. This wasn't training. It was a survival gauntlet designed to break him or kill him. When he finally collapsed back onto his hospital bed at dawn, he was drenched in sweat and trembling. He realized then, the system's words were absolute. Scene 3, the first taste of power. Determined not to face the desert again, Jin-Woo began his training in earnest. For the next week, the hospital staff watched in confusion as the weakest hunter spent every waking hour doing push-ups in the hallway or squats in the garden. He pushed himself past the point of exhaustion, driven by the memory of the king's statue's smile. On the 3rd day, as he finished his final set of squats, a golden light enveloped him.
Daily quest completed. Rewards. Status recovery. 3 stat points. Random box.
The fatigue evaporated instantly. Jin-Woo felt a surge of vitality he had never known. He opened his status window and saw his attributes. He had 3 points to spend. He poured them all into strength. A physical change rippled through his body. His muscles didn't just grow, they became denser, more defined. He walked over to the heavy iron frame of his hospital bed and gripped the rail. With a light squeeze, the solid metal began to bend like soft clay. "It's real," he whispered, his eyes wide with a mix of terror and excitement. "I can actually grow stronger? Hunters are supposed to be stuck with the power they are born with. But this changes everything." He opened the random box reward. Inside was a weathered, rusted iron key.
Item. Instance dungeon key. Rank. E. Location. Hapjeong Subway Station.
Jin-Woo knew the risks. He was still technically an E rank, but the hunger to test his new limits was gnawing at him. He packed a few supplies, hid his transformation from his sister, Jinna, and headed into the night. Scene 4, the subway abyss. Hapjeong Station was a ghost town at 2 a.m. Jin-Woo stood before a flickering fluorescent light near the tracks and pulled out the rusted key. As he held it up, the air began to warp, swirling into a shimmering blue gate that only he could see.
You have entered an instance dungeon. You cannot leave until the boss is defeated.
The moment he stepped through, the subway station transformed. The walls were covered in thick, pulsating vines, and the floor was littered with rusted train wreckage and old bones. The exit behind him was blocked by a wall of magical force. He was trapped. From the darkness of the tunnels, a low growl echoed, then another. Dozens of pairs of red, glowing eyes emerged from the shadows. They were Steel-Fanged Wolves, monsters known for their pack hunting and relentless speed. In the past, one of these would have sent Jin-Woo to the emergency room. But now, as they lunged, he felt a strange clarity. Their movements were slow, predictable. He dodged the first wolf's snap and drove his cheap short knife into its throat.
have leveled up.
A jolt of energy surged through him. He didn't stop. He became a blur of motion, moving through the pack like a predator. Every kill made him faster, stronger, sharper. The weakest hunter was dead. A warrior was being forged in the dark. Scene 5. The Serpent of the Deep. As Jin-Woo descended to the lowest level of the subway station, the air grew cold and damp. The wolves were gone, replaced by an eerie, heavy silence. Suddenly, the ceiling exploded. A massive, blue-scaled serpent crashed onto the tracks, its body thick enough to crush a tank.
Boss, the Blue-Fanged Kasaka.
The serpent moved with lightning speed, its tail whipping through the air and shattering a concrete pillar. Jin-Woo lunged forward, his knife striking the scales, but the blade snapped in two. The serpent's hide was harder than steel. No weapon? Jin-Woo gritted his teeth, dodging a venomous snap. Fine. I'll use my bare hands. The serpent coiled around him, its massive body constricting, trying to crush his ribs. Jin-Woo felt his bones groan under the pressure. Instead of panicking, he focused all his newly gained strength points into his arms. He reached out and grabbed the serpent's neck, digging his fingers into the gaps between the scales. With a roar of pure defiance, he squeezed. The sound of the serpent's neck snapping echoed through the tunnel. The monster thrashed one last time before falling limp.
Boss defeated. Level up. 3 levels gained. New item. Kasaka's Poison Fang. C-rank dagger. New item. Kasaka's Venom Gland.
Jin-Woo stood over the carcass, drenched in monster blood. He picked up the new dagger, a curved, purple blade that pulsed with a deadly toxin. He felt a dark power radiating from it. He wasn't just surviving anymore, he was becoming a threat. Scene 6, the shadows of the Red Gate. By the time Jin-Woo left the subway station, he was a different man. His posture was straight, his gaze was lethal, and his physical presence was overwhelming. When he arrived home, his sister Jinna stared at him in shock. "Papa? Did you grow taller? And your eyes? They look so sharp," she said, reaching out to touch his shoulder. "I've just been working out, Jinna." "Don't worry about it," he lied, but he knew the lie wouldn't last forever. As he lay in bed, the system screen flickered to life again. This time, the border of the notification was a violent, pulsing red.
Urgent quest. The Red Gate. A nearby C-rank raid has been compromised. The gate has mutated into a red gate.
Jin-Woo sat up, his heart racing. He knew what a red gate was. It was a dungeon that locked from the inside, trapping hunters in an alternate dimension until the boss was dead. Most of the time, no one came out alive. Then he saw the list of registered hunters for that raid. One name stood out: Lee Ju-hee. "She saved me in the temple," Jin-Woo whispered, grabbing his new key-rank dagger. "I won't let her die in there." He sprinted toward the location of the gate. As he arrived, he saw the shimmering blue portal turning into a dark, bloody crimson. The association guards were frantically trying to call for backup, but Jin-Woo didn't wait. He leaped into the red gate just as it sealed shut. Inside the red gate, a blizzard of ice and snow blinded him. Around him lay the frozen corpses of the lower-rank hunters who had entered first. In the distance, he heard the chilling howl of an ice elf. A high-level monster that should never be in a key-rank dungeon. Jin-Woo unsheathed Kasaka's poison fang, the purple blade glowing against the white snow. The system began to hum.
Warning. You are significantly underleveled for this zone. New objective. Survive the hunt.
Jin-Woo gripped his blade, his eyes glowing with a faint blue light. The hunt? You've got it wrong. I'm the one doing the hunting now. End of episode 2.